Sinners is going to be tough to beat for movie of the year. The premise might be simple, but there's so much to unpack. If you somehow haven't seen the movie, please go watch it. It has great action, great music, and great characters. This is going to be less of a review and more of my personal analysis. The main topics that Sinners covers are religion, relationships, race, and most importantly, music. Throughout this video, I'm going to touch on music and religion specifically. Before I get started, it's me, the Visionary G, and welcome back. If you're new here, welcome to the channel. I'm trying to be more consistent on YouTube, so this is my first video in a very long time. Sinners is too detailed of a movie to review in text like I normally do, so that's what this video is for. If you like what you see, be sure to like, share, subscribe. I'm also trying to be more consistent on my non-music channel too. If you're interested in gaming and anime, make sure to go check out that channel as well. In my recent video, I actually talk about Sinners, and these were my first reactions after my first watch. However, since then, I've watched it again and noticed some more things. Let's get into it. Music is arguably the most important topic of the movie. The pivotal scene featuring the song I Lied to You is incredibly unique. It's the core of the film and the scene that I'll mention the most throughout this video. It's not just about the execution of the scene, but the foreshadowing to it. The beginning monologue by Annie states that there are people that hold the gift of music. They go by many names depending on the culture. It can pierce the veil between life and death, conjuring from the past and the future. It can bring healing to the community, but also attracts evil. This is metaphorically what happens when Sammy sings I Lied to You. It's the peak of the night with everyone dancing to it, and it's like their troubles were forgotten. For example, one scene ago, Mary and Stack were just having a talk about their relationship. On top of that, Mary's been dealing with her mother's death. The takeaway of that conversation isn't explicitly mentioned in my opinion, but once Sammy gets his moment, they're dancing together, almost like that convo never happened. At the end, Sammy and Stack both agree that it was the best night of their life, but despite what happened with the vampires. Side note, I also like how everyone's looking after Sammy like he's their little brother. It makes sense because he's the one with the most potential to live by his talents, without corruption. In a literal sense, he wants to escape from Remick because Remick wants his talents. Metaphorically, his mentors, like Smoke, Stack, and Slim, don't want him to fall into the same trappings of life that they did. For more foreshadowing, the humming melody of I Lied to You appears multiple times before the scene. During the monologue, when the West Africans were mentioned, when we see Sammy at sunrise picking cotton, and it recurs throughout the score if you're listening hard enough. I love how the song itself is written to his father because it describes Sammy's story in a concise way. The transitions of the song really show the connections of multiple genres in history. Blues is arguably the most influential genre to modern music, and that's why the transitions from blues music to other music feel seamless. From what I could catch, the genres are West African music, 80s hip-hop, G-funk, bounce music, and rock. Slim even mentions that blues wasn't forced on us like Christianity, and that we brought it from West Africa, further adding to the central point. It's our music, our gift, which is true to us, like Annie mentioned in the monologue. There's another point in the movie where we see blues music being made in real life. Slim recounts a story on how his friend was lynched. After the story is finished, Slim takes the pain and turns it into a melody for Sammy to start playing his guitar to. The blues are our gift to help us cope with the pain of discrimination, and that is echoed in other genres for decades. My last point related to the music is that the attracting evil part can be related to how a community can be tainted when too many outsiders are let in. It's something that every genre of music has struggled with, but you can match up this issue with hip-hop ever since it crossed over. Not to sidetrack into another topic, but with hip-hop culture meshing with streamer culture, there's a risk that the consumers of the culture, whether they're black or non-black, can lose context of the history of the genre. Bringing it back to Sinners, if Remick meshed with Sammy's gifts, it would dilute the meaning and culture of their music. Alright, so as we move into the religion section, I want to start off with a quick disclaimer. I do not intend to look down upon or judge Christianity. For transparency, I've grown up in the Baptist church, so with this movie, I'm just making observations. That's all. This is most likely the first theme that people focus on. Sammy is the son of a preacher who has expectations on him to follow the path of Christianity. Within this time, the blues was considered the devil's music. Anyone who plays it or enjoys it is labeled a sinner, which is almost everyone in this movie. Christianity often puts a black and white perception of sinners. If you commit a sin, you're against the way of God. The positive intention is to teach valid life lessons to Christians. However, this movie shows that sinners most likely live in a gray area. Especially in the I Lied to You scene, the sinners experience a peak of their life through blues music, which is, once again in this context, the devil's music against the way of God. This is not to say that being a Christian will offer no life enjoyment, but it's interesting that sinning can lead to meaningful life experiences, a peak of your life. In our history, Christianity was a forced religion on black people, so it can be viewed as oppressive, taking us away from our ancestors and roots. There's no right answer to choosing Christianity over the blues or vice versa. That's not the movie's point. Uncle Jed, Sammy's father, has a scripture, 1 Corinthians 10th chapter, 13th verse, that offers more foreshadowing. Reading from the New International Version, "No temptation has overtaken you except what is common to mankind, and God is faithful. He will not let you be tempted beyond what you can bear, but when you are tempted, He will provide a way out so that you can endure it." In context of the movie's events, I can see the temptation represented as the vampires or blues music itself. I think that it closely resembles the vampires as a temptation that Sammy ended up enduring. Ironically, Uncle Jed probably thought that the blues music was the temptation. When Remick catches Sammy and Sammy starts citing the Lord's Prayer, Remick cites it with him. At first I thought, is he mocking him? But there's more to it than that. It's a bit of irony that Sammy is a sinner, but still calls out to the Lord for help. Remick even acknowledged that the prayer was forced on him, but the words still bring him comfort. That's a complex perspective on it, and not one that you see from many villains. In addition, he states, "We are earth and beast and God. We are woman and man. We are connected, you and I, to everything." In some people's eyes, he has a point. This religion that was forced upon black people and Irish people, because it's important to note that Remick is Irish, can imply that everything in the world is in this hierarchical system. In his words, they told stories of a God above and a devil below, and the lies of a dominion of man over beasts and earth. If you're telling this to the oppressed, it feeds into their continual oppression, which affected the viewpoint of both cultures and forced them to lose touch with their ancestors. This is why he emphasized with our struggle. I have a personal theory related to this and the I Lied to You scene. Remick's point can be interpreted that the world has been caught up in these semantics and labels because of the oppressors. Another common practice of that in music is the strict labeling of genres. In the I Lied to You scene, I think there's gospel elements in the drums prior to the climax of the scene. Everything just kind of blends together and the drums kind of sound like praise break drums to me. If that was intentional, it can show that semantics, in this context genres, started to interconnect in that song, relating to Remick's point, we are all connected. Let's go back to that last part of the verse. He will also provide a way out so that you can endure it. Sammy's guitar is a strong metaphor for his way out. It strengthens his love of music to pierce the veil that Annie mentioned, and it temporarily kept him away from Remick when he literally hit him with the guitar. After escaping Remick and the vampires, Sammy makes it back to the church, and the first thing that Uncle Jed wants him to do is let go of the guitar. This is the same scene from the beginning of the movie, and the difference is that in the beginning, there are jump scare cuts between Remick and Jed. The reason why is because they are equally oppressive forces over Sammy's path in life. Remick wants Sammy to become a vampire to use his gifts to pierce the veil, and Jed wants Sammy to drop the guitar for good and follow in his footsteps. In the end, the guitar is his way out, and that's the moment where he became free. To bring this to a close, the elements of music and religion are very important to this film. There are many videos out there that have discussed Sinners, but I really wanted to share what resonated with me the most from the film. So I hope you enjoyed the video, and I'll see you on the next one. Later, y'all.